Good morning and welcome back to the channel. This week's video, I haven't really got much to update you with, to be honest. We haven't started on the house renovation yet. We've not really made many tracks with doing anything in the garden, so I figured I'd give you a little bit of a garden tour now that things are a bit more settled in. And with the good weather that we've had this week, everything's kind of coming up. There are quite a few things flowering now, so I figured I would give you a little tour. So as we come up our driveway along the side of the house, we do reach our gate, which enters us into our garden space where we're currently living behind the house. We have the hens just off to one side here, and they're loving having this good weather. It means they get to be outside the whole time. They're not sheltering too much from the bad weather. They are sheltering, however, from the sun, which is good to have the big sort of sheltered structure for them there, so there is a bit of shade there. Then coming along into our sort of central garden area, we have our ornamental gardens. Now the first one that you come to actually probably is the most exposed. It probably gets the most sun for the day, so there are some things in here that are struggling a little bit with this heat, but we're hoping that once they're a bit more settled that they will sort of acclimatise a little bit more and be a bit more used to the good weather. They're also kind of, I suppose, the most exposed when it comes to the bad weather as well, so they do take a bit of a battering, but hopefully they'll be sturdy enough to stay. So in this first bed we have a forest pansy, which is actually its leaves got burnt, unfortunately, so we're a bit upset. We're hoping it will come back next season, but it has sort of taken a brunt this year. We have irises at the back, which we have already had flowering, and aquilegia, purple variety of aquilegia, is in this bed. We have hostas that have come up now. Hellebores were the first thing to flower in this bed. They were like the first thing to come up, so they look great. The chives as well we have in here, and then I've actually planted some lupins and some cosmos in this bed as well. Purple lupins, I think, and white cosmos, purity I think the variety is called, and we also have some stasher daisies in here as well. So this was our sort of purple and white bed. This is what we wanted to keep here. Moving on to our second bed that we built, we have our what we call fruit salad bed, which we wanted to have a variety of flowers ranging from pinks right through to oranges and then into yellows. So in here we have a twisted willow, we have a tamarix bush which is just coming out now. We've got a few things that have already flowered, like the broom, but then we've got other things that are coming up now. So the astilbe we put in here, there's actually 3 different varieties of astilbe in here, and they're all varying layers of pink. There's a very dark one over one side, and then like a really sort of vibrant one on the other, and then a kind of more muted one. So it's nice to have that variety. We also have some grasses, and then I put in a few bedding plants which have started to come out and look really nice. But they are annuals, so I imagine that we'll probably not see them next year, but I might try and save some seeds from them so that we can maybe plant a few. The gladioli at the back are just coming out as well, so they look really nice. And we've just put this eucalyptus at the end here just to try and give it a good amount of sun. We also have canna lilies coming up. I actually bought some corms from Bloom, so they are just starting to poke out of the soil now. Just coming down to sort of the start of our cottage garden area, we have some pots just at this end. We do actually have another forest pansy which is doing okay, but it's a lot smaller than our other one that got hit, so we're hoping that at least that one will survive. Fingers crossed. And then we've got a tulip magnolia in this part and some crocosmia coming up here. We did originally actually scatter a load of wildflower seeds along this bed sort of at the front. We wanted to kind of create this kind of wall of wildflowers, but they've taken a long time to come up. I think the mixture of very wet and cooler temperatures have kind of really slowed them down, but this last week with the good weather they've really started to come up, so they should be flowering soon, hopefully. Just along the front here we have irises which have flowered already, but they came up. We've got a couple of hostas as well, a hebe at the back and a euphorbia. We've kind of lined our seating area here with pots of lavender. That was partially to try and save me from being eaten to death by mosquitoes, but also just because lavender is really lovely and it's nice to have such a fragrant flower where you're going to be close. So carrying on here, we've got some more grasses, some more crocosmia, and we've just got the Rudbeckia coming up here as well. Not quite flowering yet, but it's getting there. And we've interplanted all of our Rudbeckias with verbena, just to have that contrasting colour of purple against the yellow Rudbeckia flowers. So can't wait for those two to be flowering. Moving on to our main sort of cottage garden area. This has really come into its own now and it's looking really lovely. There are some things that I wish that had flowered this year, but because we've only just put them in, they haven't flowered, like my peonies that are kind of in the middle here. They haven't flowered this year, but they will probably flower next year once they've got a bit more settled, so fingers crossed for that. We planted our bay tree just here because we figured we wanted to have the odd tree in a few beds, because we want to, like, this is a very flat area, this is a very exposed area that we're growing in, so we want to eventually have pockets of shade throughout the garden. So we have put trees in certain areas, we have put things that will shade out certain things. This is only our first season, so everything is quite low and it's all kind of a very similar layer, but we're hoping over the years to come that we will start to have that more sort of canopy layer with some of our trees, and then sort of as the bushes kind of start coming along and spreading out, we'll have like a little bush layer, and then we can put our lower lying bedding plants in every year with annuals and things. So that's the rough plan. But got our bay tree here which will grow up and I will use quite a lot to get things for the kitchen. And then we have some more crocosmia here which hasn't quite come into flower yet, more hostas sporadically put around the garden. This is bergamot, it's just coming into flower now, or it's just flowering now. It's really beautiful, such an unusual flower, and we really love it. It's so vibrant. And we've got solidago behind it, so once that starts flowering it's like bright yellow. It's really going to pop against the very red bergamot flower. Here we also have some things that have already flowered, so the aquilidra again. This one was a light pink variety. We've also got some along the fence line here. That's already flowered and gone to seed, so that will probably be done for the year now. The broom as well has already flowered. We've just got the echinopsis coming in now, and the sweet peas around the obelisk are just coming up. We've got our archways put in here, which we only just put in earlier this week, so we kind of wanted to section this area off as it is our little goth garden. But I'll just show you the view of the cottage garden from this little alleyway, just so we can get all kind of angles of it. The fuchsia here in the middle has flowered loads actually, but I'm not sure that it's liking this heat. I probably need to give it a good water. There are a few things that have been kind of knocked back because it was very saturated here. The water level in the ground was very high. There were quite a few things that were kind of sat in water, so their roots took a real battering. And then this harsh weather, like this harsh hot weather, has kind of really knocked things back. Some things have been fine because they've been in a while, but newer things just haven't liked it at all. But you win some, you lose some, you know, you can't always make it work. And you know, when you've got such a large space and you're trying to concentrate on so many things, you know, not everything is going to work, and that's fine. You just kind of work with it. We have our California lilac down here, which the bees have been all over, which is really lovely. And I've planted a few sunflowers along this fence line. Not sure how tall they'll get, but I did plant some sunflower seeds, so I figured I should probably get them in the ground. And then we have our little pond area. We've got irises that have already flowered. We had white irises that we bought from a fella at a market. They've already flowered as well. Our lily is looking absolutely lovely. She hasn't flowered yet, but she is going to have more flowers on her this year than I think I've seen her have at all. Our oriental poppy and these grasses that we bought from Bloom have also taken a bit of a hit. I think again they've been sort of sat in the water. Their roots have been sat in water, so they've taken a beating a bit. But other things around them seem to be doing okay. The foxgloves are now in flower, and the purple loosestrife has come up, so that's looking lovely. And our purple hydrangea at the back here is coming into flower. We were a bit worried because it's meant to be a purple variety, and it's come up as very sort of greeny yellow, but I think that's just how the flowers go before they change colour. Just coming in next to the pond here, we've got our crocosmia and irises along the back there. We also got some of these lovely white lilies, although they have kind of been spent now. They're dying back a bit. But that's all going to hopefully come up in flower with the crocosmia soon. We've got Veronica that's flowering, and the verbena next to it that is flowering among the other variety of Rebecca that we have, although that's not quite come up flowering yet. Our pond is looking okay. We did get some fish, although they are quite elusive. So, you know, it's nice to have a bit of life in the pond as well. We have got a lot of plants in there, and we did get an oxygenator to make sure that if we did have fish, that they would be okay in the pond with an oxygenator, because we don't have a pump at the minute. But that is something that we might consider down the line. And then just in this other little corner here, we have some achillea, which is just flowering now. I planted some more cosmos, and then we've got hopefully a few more of our wildflowers coming up, and some more aquiledra and little bits at the end there. Coming back into our sort of goth garden area, I think this is one of the gardens that has kind of probably taken the best. It was one of our first ones, but everything seems to be thriving here. So we have our hebe, hollyhocks are just coming up. They're not quite flowering yet, but they will be soon. We have a sambucus and purple verbena. Our hebes, the hebes, considering that they are known to be more of a winter flowering plant, these ones still have, or this one certainly has flowers still on it. We have a dark purple calla lily at the back there. We have a day dahlia, which I've been deadheading, so there were flowers on it, but it's currently not got any on at the minute. Chat noir dahlia at the back, which thankfully hasn't been slugged too badly. And then barbarous and some grasses and other dark plants down here. So it's looking really nice. We've also got our apple tree just here, which has got apples on it, which is great. We do have another apple tree just over behind where the caravan is, which we didn't know was here originally, but that is absolutely covered in apples as well. So plenty of apple pie in the autumn. Our pheasantberry is now in flower, which is really looking lovely. So hopefully that'll fill this space here. This is a bit prone to getting a bit waterlogged, so I'm hoping that the pheasantberry will sort of help that situation out a little bit. Then we've got into our Japanese garden. We've got our ginkgo, a couple of hostas and a magnolia. We have gone a bit wild this year. We're buying quite a few maples, but we figure, why not? This is our space and we want to enjoy it, and we really want to try and make it feel very calm and zen and everything. So we did treat ourselves to quite a few maples this year. I think we're going to have to cut ourselves off a little bit and let these ones settle in. They're not doing too badly. There was one, unfortunately, was sat in water quite badly for a while, and we have moved it, so I'm hoping that she comes back. She doesn't look very happy though, so we're hoping that she will, but time will tell, I suppose. We've also got our black bamboo in, which is taken really nicely, and a few other grasses and things and hostas in this area that again are just gradually sort of settling in. Along the back here we have Japanese laurel, which is actually doing really well. We've got a couple of juniper bushes that we wanted because they have a very different colour to a lot of the maples, because they have that kind of blue hue. And then we're coming into our little hosta garden area. Now most of our hostas have been okay because they're quite shaded here under this big sycamore tree, and they don't mind damp soil, so they've not been too bad. But we are sort of keeping an eye on a couple of them. I think there's one that was very low lying that kind of wasn't very happy, so we've pulled that up and put it in a pot temporarily until it kind of thrives and comes back a little bit. But everything else around here seems to be going okay. We've got a couple of heucheras just to give a bit of contrast of colours. Sorry, I've really been suffering with hay fever this week. I get really bad hay fever, and as much as I do take tablets and wear balms and all sorts, it just really knocks me out. And as a gardener, it's literally like my nemesis, the grass. The grass pollen is awful for me. But I digress. We should continue the little tour. We have started to do a little bit more on the caravan cladding. So Ross has started to frame it out, and obviously we have our decking and our steps, which he built. I have managed to plant out a couple of bits that we can eat now. So I have onions and some lettuce. We'll actually head down to the sort of production garden area. We started doing the sundial bed, and I don't think I actually mentioned what I'd planted out. So in here is going to be a mixture of flowers and edible vegetables. So I think I did mention we had planted up currants and blueberries along the fence line here. The blueberries there aren't many, but they are coming. So that's really good that they have taken enough to be producing fruit, which is great. We did plant a few strawberries, but I do have to try and beat Baggins, our dog, to the strawberries, because he is notorious for snuffling through like a little truffle pig and getting the strawberries before we do. So I do have to try and keep an eye on them. So what we've done in here so far is sort of plant out a mixture of flowers and some fruits and vegetables. So in this section I have feverfew, I've got snapdragons, and I've got some red campion. So they The snapdragons might not come back, but the red campion and the feverfew is perennial, so they should come back. In the next section we have nasturtiums, calendula and some red Russian kale. We've got the main path, and then in the other section that we've done I've got lupins and cosmos. Next to that is kind of a mixture of a few bits because I just wanted to get a few things in. These can be mainly used for like dried flowers, so I've got verbena, we've got a lot of statice in here, although again it doesn't look too happy, but hopefully it should bounce back. I've got some gyp at the end there, but again that took a real beating, so I'm really not sure if that's doing too well. There's a little bit of green on it, so fingers crossed it should survive. I've also got echinops in this bed and a mullein as well, a small mullein, so hopefully they'll do okay. These beds in particular really were not happy with that wet weather that we were having, and then because it's so exposed, like the soil is so exposed, there's a lot of weeds and it's been drying out very quickly. So you can probably see on the bed with the feverfew I've been trying to chip some of the wood that we have and create a bit of a mulch to try and lock in some of the moisture and to try and break down that clay soil, and also kill off the weeds by putting a layer of newspaper underneath the wood chip. So fingers crossed that does the job. It looks a bit tidier as well. In this final section I have planted out some sweet corn and then butternut squash as well. I've kind of tried to do a bit of the Three Sisters here, but I don't have any beans, or I haven't planted any beans, so I don't have beans in this bed. But as a nitrogen fixer I have put lupins in instead, so because I did plant a lot of lupins so I figured why not have them, get them in the ground. Just for this season I have left my dahlias in crates. I'm not entirely sure how well they're going to do because usually they would be in the ground, but with the crates at least it's just made it a little bit more easier to move them, and some of them haven't actually been as eaten by slugs as I was kind of expecting, to be honest, considering that they've been outside the whole season. But yeah, some of them seem to be thriving, so I'm hoping that we do get some flowers before the summer is out. But at the very least, hopefully they should be okay to be put in the ground when the polytunnel comes, because I was a little bit concerned that they'd been out of the ground for too long when we moved. Everything else is just kind of sat back here really. We've tried to put in as much as we possibly can in the garden. There are a few things that I'm still not entirely sure what they are, so I'm waiting for them to flower so I can actually identify them, and then I can put them in an area that they would be suitable. We still have so many other little bits that we need to do. We've still not done our Tory gate to come into the production garden. We've not done our supports for our pear trees that are back here. We've not finished doing the sundial. I'd love to do like a gourd archway, but that's going to have to be in an area that we currently can't work in because we're waiting for the trees to be removed. And it's just, there's a long list of things to do still. I've been gradually kind of basically just weeding over the last couple of weeks because the nettles and the sticky weeds are really just getting crazy, and they are taking over. But yeah, with the drastic change in weather and temperatures, I'm hoping that most things will survive. Even if they are in pots, I'll have to keep on top of watering. But yeah, hopefully everything that's in the ground will do okay and it'll come up. I just need to keep an eye on things. the garden tour for now. Like I said, there's a few things that we've planted that have already flowered, and there are a few things that are almost there. But it is really nice to start seeing flowers coming actually into the garden, especially in the cottage garden area, because we knew that was going to be such a sort of vibrant, bright mix of colour down there. And I can't wait for everything to all come up and just be sort of popping off each other and looking really lush. So yeah, excited to see things coming out over the next couple of months. Thanks very much for coming along to this very short and sweet video this week. Hopefully over the next couple of weeks there'll be a few other moving parts that will bring us a bit further along our journey, and we'll see you in the next video.